In a fast-growing social media world, deciphering between the true, the authentic, and the honest individuals creating real disruptive changes in their industry has become very difficult. Many people are quick to flash the cars, the money, but very slow to give people the true wisdom they seek. This is why we started the Real Estate Disruptors, to bring you in front of real disruptors, changing not only the barriers in their industries, but doing it and impacting millions of lives. Welcome to the Disruptor Network. Our next disruptor grew up in the streets of Washington Heights and propelled into one of New York City's top real estate agents. He is now on the hunt to help business professionals conquer their health and fitness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Lajara. Take me back to like John Lajara growing up.
I grew up in Washington Heights. It was an area that, unfortunately, a lot of kids didn't have guidance. Most of the time, people were in these societies to just fit in. And, my dad was very, very strict. When I was younger, I didn't really understand it in terms of like in high school, right? When I used to want to go to a party and he wouldn't allow me. And I'm like, it's not fair. I get good grades. Why can't I treat myself? Why can't I enjoy myself? And he's seen his friends, and he didn't want us to go down the road that he went through, right? He was in the streets and stuff like that, so he did all in his power to make sure that we didn't go that road. And 90% of those people that were in that lifestyle, they're either dead, they're locked up, or they don't have a lot of things going for themselves. So we were probably maybe 5% or maybe 10 of people that grew up in that area that made it out and are doing great things in life right now. I think that, times have changed. So people that are in those type of society can do a lot better, because right now we have social media, we have audiobooks, we have all these resources that, millennials and Generation Z that can really listen to and get inspired to like build a certain lifestyle. But kids back in the 80s and the 90s, they didn't have that. So you were either under the influence of the right people or a mentor, your parents, or you were dictated by the people around you. So I think back then, I owe it all to my parents. We're Dominicans, and old school parents, especially dads, right? That was their culture back in their country, baseball. So, at that time we didn't have options. Now I do gymnastics and all these things, I have free will. But back in the day, if you were Dominican, you play baseball. If you were Mexican, you play soccer. And then it came to a point where I wanted to have my own things. I want to have Jersey, Jordans, impress the girls and stuff like that. And I couldn't do all three, where I had to now work, right? So how can I play baseball, go to school and work? So unfortunately, I left baseball. When I was 16, I was working in Radio Shack. They didn't even allow adolescents at that age even get employed. You had to be 18. So I was able to get a connection, start working there. I was selling cell phones. And now that I look back, it's funny that I was in sales at a young age. And now, funny thing, I'm doing sales again. So I would say two-thirds of my entire life has been literally selling and helping individuals buy products and using, influence on why they need it and the benefits and stuff like that. I've literally been around that all my entire life. And so it's no coincidence right now that I actually do real estate, because I've always been literally in that world. So real estate happened to fall on my lap because I was in that business world. My mom was a tax preparer. She wanted me to be an accountant. So I was going to school for that. But it hit a point when I was doing my associates, and I was walking to school. Like, bro, it was crazy. It was like this hunch and like this feeling as I was walking to school that like, what are you doing, John? Like, what is this? Like, there's no meaning. Like, are you enjoying what you're doing? It was just crazy. It wasn't like I mentioned, I didn't have mentors. It was just something that came in from within that told me, like, you have to just stop. And I had the baseball flashback, and it's like, you can't keep wasting life. You have to start doing what you enjoy. And this time, don't make the same mistakes that you did when you were younger, fix them. So I literally went back, took the train and went back home. It's funny because I can't even remember what I told my parents at the time, but I started getting creative, started finding things to do. And one of my mom's friends did real estate. And real estate for me at that time, right? Most people think, yeah, real estate agents, they make a lot of money. They're financially free. You have all this time. BS. Not when you started, right? Not when you started. But it was a fun lifestyle for me at that time. And it allowed me to really get an idea of independency, because I've always worked 9 to 5 with my mom and Radio Shack. So I wanted to literally just not attend to someone, and I just wanted to build something from scratch and not be under the influence, like I mentioned. And this time just make all the moves that were right for me and build my own life from ground up. And that's how it all started.
And so, walk me through, what does your real estate team look like now? What does real estate really look like to you?
Talking about real estate 10 years ago to now, you would never think I'm the individual I am today. I was the type of person that I had a partner, and I was in the beginning stages of prospecting, and I was literally fearful of the phone. I mean, if I was talking to someone on the phone, I didn't have that confidence at that time. So when my partner didn't come to work, and I would drive into the parking lot and I would see he's not there, I would be like, yes, go back home. So literally that was John Lajara 10 years ago when he started. He was just like finding the easy road to the business and not going through that pain and struggle. And then I started building the habits from there. And I really analyzed my life, and I always thought of, like, I never really did anything that special that I felt that I was like, nobody can really compete with me in terms of like skill-wise. What I look at is like, I was just very consistent. A lot of the people that were in the business, if it didn't work for them, they just, stopped and they quit. They found another job, or, whatever they did. With me, it was like something in me just made me consistent. And the consistency led me to this point right now, and still was able to become, let's say, top 10 realtors in New York, by Real Trends, #1 Hispanic realtor in the Bronx, Westchester, top 20 in the country. So that just shows you that literally whatever it is you're gonna do, just keep making it work, figure out what's your errors, what's working, and later you'll find out that you'll find something that works, it'll stick, and then the rest is history. The pandemic started, gyms were shut down. I actually had a strategy where I was gonna hire a nutritionist, my coach Ryan, who's also my partner now. And we got creative, and we were like, listen, let's give back, let's do a challenge. A lot of people were doing challenges on social media. And it just took off, man. Like, we started doing it. I did TikTok, and TikTok, I was able to find a niche in the fitness, which grew tremendously, and people were seeking out for tips. And I'm like, wait, guys, people didn't know. They thought I was this fitness authority, and I wasn't. As I started doing the fitness stuff, one of my friends was like, John, like, I think you have something here. He's like, you're in the real estate business. How many of the busy professionals that you know prioritize health and fitness? And we started analyzing it. Not many. So there's a lack here. There's also a purpose, now even greater for myself. I'm just using busy professional because I have the platform in real estate. And now it's making real estate fun for me because I was always helping buyers and sellers. Hey, now I can contribute and help my fellow colleagues, my attorneys that I work with, realtors that I associate with, and all these people in my community that some time ago I didn't really see what value it was to stay in touch with them, but right now I can give back. Every day is important because you never know. There are people with money during COVID that died, that were millionaires, so money is nothing. So right now what you have to value is your life. Be grateful every day that you're alive. You have your friends, you have your family, you have your work, whatever it is that you have, be grateful for that. You're gonna do health and fitness. It's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna make you think better. It's gonna help you identify opportunities right now that you're not seeing. Then later, what you can do is scale up like I do, delegate, Now you have more time. You can delegate that extra leisure time to your friends, your spouse, your kids. You can now travel, whatever recreation activities that you want to do, you do it. And you're doing all this, your career is exploding, you're making more money, and now you're tapping into all those areas in life. And what was the cause? It was your health and fitness. So I believe that if you want to have a well-balanced life, you cannot do it if your body is not healthy. Non-negotiable. When you start in real estate or any job that is like independent contractor, you're literally your own boss. You have to self-motivate yourself. So you are gonna have times that are gonna be difficult, times when you're not gonna wanna make that phone call, times when you're not gonna wanna wake up. So what is it that's gonna help you pull you forward during those times when you don't want to, but you need to, and you're wise.
Our next disruptor started as an actor in Hollywood back in the 70s. Then he fell in love with real estate and successfully sold over $4 billion in commercial real estate transactions. Now living in paradise. This is Robert Floria.
How many years have you been in Jamaica?
I built this house 30 years ago.
And were you coming to Jamaica often before?
So what happened was, when I was like 22 years old, I had just finished directing my first film. I'd never been anywhere. My mom goes, go to Jamaica. I go, Jamaica? She goes, yeah, go. So I go to Jamaica. I'm from New York, man. I go on I put my thumb out on the road to hitch from Negril back to Montego Bay. All of a sudden, a Volkswagen Bug stops. I look in, there's 4 college girls in the car. I'm like, Maron. So, you're going a month? Yeah, and I hop in. Anyway, long story short, the driver, the girl that was driving the car, that's Barbara and I ended up marrying each other. That's how we met. So we had that crazy connection to Jamaica when we were in our early 20s, so it goes way, way back.
And so, what was one of the things that helped you propel and be able to have the life to be able to come to Jamaica and build a house and then retire here? And I don't even think you retired because a businessman is always a businessman.
Exactly,
Yeah.
That's right. I've been very, very fortunate in a lot of ways. But one of the things, when I was interested in theater and acting and writing and all that stuff, my mother said when I was like 19 years old, she said, if you're really interested in being an actor, she goes, go for the best. There's a guy by the name of Lee Strasberg, who's the most famous acting teacher in history in the United States. And he created something called the Actors Studio, where every movie star you could ever name, the biggest stars, they all studied with him. Anybody you'd mention. That De Niro and Pacino and Marilyn Monroe, every one of them, that's what they did. So I really learned how to be an actor. So I started in Hollywood. I got into a play. I was like star of this an original play called The Pelican of the Wilderness. But let me show you how dedicated I was. I was the star of the play. I was in every scene. Guess what? Every night I would come to the theater, I would personally sweep the stage. The star is sweeping the stage because it connected me to I had an understanding. Then all of a sudden, I start going up for like young leading parts in major movies.
Did you notice what kind of a van they were driving?
No, sorry, I didn't get the make, but then I wasn't looking.
There's no way you can stop those leaks. Our kids' lives are...
Done. Yes, in the move? Sure. You just came by so they could charge your battery.
Who left the note on his car?
I told you I don't know. I can't watch everybody. Chauffeurs come in for limousines. The car rental people come in for pickups.
So it came down at one point where I was up for this part, and this other young actor was up for the part. And whoever was going to get it was going to really make it in Hollywood. So it came down to me and Richard Gere. Richard Gere got the part. Rest is history. That would have changed my life, obviously. But after that, I was like so disillusioned. I said, I was really up. It was like, I you know, it's such a struggle. Yeah, I was working, but maybe I would work for 2 months and then I'd get something, but you know, it's frustrating. So at one point, Barb became pregnant with Chloe, and she said, honey, you gotta get a real job. I go, get a real job? I mean, we got, you know, you know. She goes, no, you gotta get I go, what the hell am I gonna do? What are you talking? I mean, get a real job. She goes, you gotta figure it out. She goes, what about real estate? I go, real estate? And that sparked the idea, and I got right into real estate. My very first job was residential. And I was like, this is definitely not for me. And somehow or other, I got to this guy. His company was a very narrow company. All they did was sell apartment buildings, the whole buildings, in the mid-Wilshire district. That's the whole business. They focused, and that was it. So I go into this company, and of course I used all of my acting skills, because it's people skills. It's any business, it's all about people. It's all about communication. So if you learn acting, you learn how to communicate. And if you can communicate with people, you can do anything. You can sell anything, you can be in any business. It's all about communication. This is gonna be hard for you to believe, but I mean, instantly became well known in this industry because one year I got 65 exclusive listings on apartment buildings for sale. Do you know what that is? 65. We only did exclusive, by the way. He said, if they don't sign off, that we don't want to work with them. We're not going to be, you know, wasting our time. Has to be an exclusive. I was calling people day and night for appointments, and I'd go in there, and I would meet the husband and the wife that owned the apartment, and I would take out a photograph of my 4-month-old, and I go, oh, my baby just, oh, isn't that honey, isn't that cute? I mean, I would just do my shtick, man, and it worked. And all of a sudden I get a phone call. He said, yeah, we're Merrill Lynch Residential, and we heard about you, and we want you to head up the commercial investment division. I was like, holy shit. And this is Beverly Hills location. I mean, this was my real big opportunity. And Barbara's going like, I don't know, man, what do you think? And, you know, because we've been talking about moving back east at that point. The owner of this company said, listen, I'm gonna make you a partner. Don't do that, don't go back. I'm gonna make you a partner. I go, thank you. But anyway, we ended up, I had no job or anything. We moved back to New York. I went around to all the commercial real estate brokerages on Long Island. What they did was leasing and what they call user sales. Like if IBM wanted to buy a 200,000-foot building to put their headquarters on Long Island, it was a user. But nobody was doing investment sales. So I was a pioneer on Long Island for investment sales. And they go, no, you really can't make a living now. One guy finally, who himself was an investor, he said, no, and he brought me in, man. He brought me in. And I was there for a few years, and then I just opened my own company. I said, what do I need this guy for? I'm doing all my own deals. He's not teaching me. I already know the business. I was training other guys. I only hired young Turks. You had to be young. You had to be 20, 21, 22, 20. That was it. That's all I hired, because I could train them and mold them. And what I did was, they would sit in front of my desk all day, listening to me negotiate deals all day long. Just listening. Sometimes I could put the guy in the speaker box so he could hear, and that's how they learn the whole art of negotiation. Those guys today, the top guys, they're all multimillionaires, all of them that came out of that shop. Over the 40-year career, the total sales were over $4 billion. You know, I understood certain things, and the thing is that if you want to be successful, going the extra mile is where all the money is made. So what I said is, you could work 80%, which is a lot, even 90%. All the money is made in the 10%. You're just there, and you look, but I'm working my ass off, and I made one deal in the last 6 months. What's going on? You know? You forgot to go the extra mile. That's where all the gravy is. That's where it's made. So I had that understanding. When you get to a certain point, you start to realize that life is about giving back. The more you give in this world, and you don't do it to get. If you're doing it to get, maybe it doesn't work. But if you naturally realize and understand the importance of giving, it nourishes your soul because you get such a great feeling. You give as much as you can financially, but even more important is the hands-on when you're doing for people. I like to empower young people. That's a way to give, you know, because people need to be bigged up and empowered. I love doing that. And it makes me feel good. And I know I'm doing something good and I'm contributing. So that's my story. It's making the calls, it's knocking on the doors, it's the repetition of it, it's the having chutzpah or the nerve, whatever you want to call it. And that's true in any business. You know, if you want to be successful, you have to make the effort to communicate the best way you can with the people in that industry.